Hello and welcome to something called Orienteering in Isolation. So I'm Simon. I coach orienteering at Onslow and also for the Wellington region, and I've even coached at a junior training camp. And I thought, well, seeing as it's kind of hard to do orienteering right now, I might take the time to go through some techniques I use on orienteering legs to help keep you a bit in practice. So the first thing I'm going to go through is this technique called care or race, which I use for every leg in every event. So it's an acronym. Care, race, they're basically interchangeable. So care, control, attack point, route, exit, or race, route, attack point, control, exit. And these are a list of things that I will go through to plan my leg. And again, I use this for every leg of every course. So each of these, there are more things I could go through. So attack points is an entire subsection of orienteering, entire technique. I'm just going to go over the very basics of it. So first of all, go to C, control. So what am I looking for? What features controller on? So whether that's looking at the control description holder on your arm and going, well, it says here 101 distinctive tree, or just looking at the circle on the map and going, well, there's a green circle in there, which means I'm looking for a distinctive tree. So why do we do this? Well, I do it because it helps prevent you looking for the wrong feature. Or on a sprint especially, it's quite important because you can have a control that's fence inside corner or fence outside corner. And those are vastly different controls. In fact, require entirely different route choices. Personally, I also help finds me focusing on a leg. So I'll often say I'll think control 6 in a re-entrant, now how am I getting there? On courses where it's more likely there are controls close together, so that's a sprint or a relay, or if you're just building confidence, you're getting started orienteering, this is where you want to check the control description number and description as well. So number 101, number 6, control 6 is 101 distinctive tree. More confident orienteers will often not bother looking at their control descriptions, instead will just look at the map and won't bother checking the number entirely. Next up is A, attack points. So, sort of, what can I use to help me find the control? So one of the things is that controls are small and often put in some tricky places to find. To help find controls, many orienteers use attack points. You might already even be using them without realizing it. But first of all, of course, what is an attack point? So an attack point is an obvious feature near a control that you can use to guide you into the control. An attack point might take the form of a track junction, re-entrant, or a hilltop. The important thing is that once you've found your attack point, it should be easy to get from your attack point to the control. So a good attack point is distinctive, big and obvious, and also close enough to your control that you can still go in from your attack point to your control very easily. If you get to your attack point and it's still hard to get to your control, you've possibly chosen a bad attack point. Right, next up, control. So you've done C, control, done A, attack points, R, route. So, route. Which way am I going to go to a control? So, one of the things is that barring areas being out of bounds or other impassable features, it'll always be a left, a right, and a straight route choice. On some legs, one or more of these might look very silly, but it's important to at least do a quick check, especially on long legs, because course planners love making long legs go all the way across the map. Think about whether you're going that way or that way. Sometimes if you don't check, you might miss the best route choice. I've done this on multiple occasions, and in fact did it on Sunday and was really kicking myself for it. Once you've chosen your route, you want to look along your route and memorize the points you'll have to make decisions at, and what decision you'll have to make there. These are called stepping stones. I'll go into more detail in a future video about how to do these. So that's things like, oh, I'm going along this route choice, there's a track junction, am I going to be going left or right? Then we get to E, exit direction. So last one's done control, attack point, route, last one is exit direction, E. So exit. Which way am I leaving the control? It's the simplest one of these, but it's still really important. So, remember an orienteering course is made up of more than just one leg. Rather than stopping and figuring out the plan for the next leg, skilled orienteers will have planned ahead and know at least which way to leave the control, if not further on. So this has several benefits. The first one is it means you're not stopping, and when you stop, you lose sense of direction and which way you're going. So have you ever left the control in the wrong direction? You're like, oh yep, I need to go that way, and then you're off that way and have to come back and look really silly. So having an exit direction helps prevent this, as you start by moving the correct direction. It's very hard to take the wrong track if you already know, I'm going to hit this track junction, I'm going to go straight on. Whereas if you stop at the track junction, you're like, oh, I need to go straight on. Which way is straight on? And then you go the wrong way. Second thing, and this is kind of minor, But people are quite big and obvious, especially if you're wearing a shirt that looks like this thing. Um, well, controls are often quite small. So if you're standing next to a control, it helps people who you're racing against to find it because you're right there. Right, so let's exit. Now, what I've got here is I've got leg 5 to 6 from the orange course on Sunday. So a lot of people had trouble with this. I thought I might just break it down from a care race standpoint, of how I would do it. So the first thing we're going to start with is C, control. What is it on? And so, having a look in the center of the circle, what's there? So, there's the circle, and the control description would be re-entrant. And one of the important things to note about this is that it's not going to be on the track. And I think this caught a few people out. They got to the track junction and went, where is the control? Which if you looked at it and gone, well, I'm looking for a re-entrant, you're immediately thinking, I'm not looking for this track junction. Right, next up. A, attack point. So what can I use to help me find it? So is there anything really obvious that when you're standing there, you go, I know I'm here, near the control? So, in fact, there is. There's this really nice, really strong attack point, which is this track junction, which is just below the control. This should be quite obvious while you're running. Another important thing is knowing how to get from my attack point to the control. And so from the junction, I just need to head up to the re-entrant, to the control. And that's an important thing to know as well. And again, that stops me from stopping at the track junction and going, now what? Right, next up, so we've done C, control, attack points. So next up is R, route. So how do I get there? And this is several things to bundle together. But first of all, we've got to figure out whether we want to go left, right, or straight on. So, here we've got the left route choice. Goes around all these tracks and up that way. Next up, have a look, there's a right route choice as well. Also goes around the tracks. And then look for a straight on route choice. And up through the green and along. And notice how these all go to my attack point. So I'm planning how to get from my attack point to the control. So I'm getting to my attack point. Now you can use attack points that you don't actually go to. And if you're good. But for this one, we're just going to go to the attack point first because it's on the way anyway. So, which which route is it you'd use to get to the attack point and then to the control? Which one did you use? If you have any opinions about it, you're like, well, I went left and it was horrifically slow, then you can comment about that if you'd like. Remembering, of course, that when looking at these routes, you're also looking at not only distance, but how slow is that route. So, for example, I'm personally very slow going up hills. So if there's a flatter route choice, I might want to take that one. I'm also not the fittest, so I'm not the fastest. So ones that involve a lot of running around tracks, I'm less good at. Not a great combination, I admit, but it is what it is. So in this case, you got a left route choice, which goes a long way around the track this way. You got the right route choice, which goes around the tracks this way. And there's a straight-on route choice, which is slower and also more navigationally complex, which is something you also want to consider. How hard is it to navigate? So, which would I take? Well, personally, I'd take the middle route choice. It's just so much shorter than the other two that I think it's worth it, even though, and I'm going to recognise, it's going to be slow through this first bit through the screen. Although I might find this little track here and be able to got that. Now, the other important thing to do is to figure out, now I've picked my route choice, so I've picked this middle one, what am I going to see along the way? So, and how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to come up through this green, this little re-entrant here, which I can go up, and I'm going to just come along, hit this track, and I'll either head right along the track, or I'll go follow the track as a sort of more straight-on way, and that will follow me into this track junction here. And in fact, I might even plan my E exit direction somewhere along this bit. So the last one, E exit. How am I leaving the control? Now this is a bit difficult because I've zoomed in on 6 to 5, 5 to 6, and control 7 is somewhere off the top of the map up there. That being said, just sort of guess, like, how am I leaving the control? And there's two real options. You can either go along this track here, now it's the right, and then cut down, basically back via 5 and along, or you can cut down the re-entrant this way, along this track, and do something there. Again, it's hard to tell because I don't actually have control 7 on the map. That's not important, I just need to plan a little bit of it. So in this case, I would personally just go down the re-entrant. And so this doesn't have to be complicated, it's just I've got to my control, by the time I'm coming into my control, I know I'm going to leave, I'm going to go down the reentrant to the track junction, and just keep going down the reentrant. I haven't planned the entire route choice, I've just planned that little bit. And the reason this is so helpful is that once I've said I'm going to go down the reentrant, it's very hard for me to take a wrong turn. Because there's this left-hand route track out this way, which I really don't want to take, and there's this right-hand one here. If I stop at this track junction and go, which way am I going? There's a chance I might accidentally take this way. But if I've already said I'm going down the hill, down this reentrant, following that track down, then by the time I'm here, in order to make that mistake, I'd have to go stop and go, well, need to go back up the hill and then take a right-hand turn up this way. And that's just not going to happen. So that's sort of applying this to a leg. But I thought I'd go over how I personally do it, which is a little bit different. So I tend to actually mix and match. So think of care/race as a checklist for how to plan a leg. So as long as you know all the parts of it, it doesn't really matter what order you do them in, except for exit, which should really be last. So personally, I tend to do them in order of control, route, attack point, exit. However, CRAY doesn't make for quite as good an acronym as care or race, so I don't tend to teach that. I also mentally ask myself them in the form of a list of questions. So, first of all, what is the control on? In this case, reentrant. How am I getting there? Am I going left, right, or straight? I want to go straight as possible, so up through the green, across the track, and I'll follow the track around and into the track junction. What's the best attack point? What's this nice track junctions below the control? From there, I just want to go up the reentrant to the control. And lastly, how am I leaving? I'm going to go down the hill, hit the track junction, to keep going down the hill that way. And that just sort of keeps me going through, and means that I've planned the entire leg. That's just how it is. But yeah, and it also means I'm not going to make a mistake leaving the control go the wrong way. I've also thought about, which one of them is best. I'm not going to take a silly route choice because I've looked and compared all of them. And because, again, with the route, I've gone through and I've checked off and go, and see this, this, and this. As soon as those go wrong, I know I've messed up navigation that way. But that's basically how care or race works. So hopefully this has been at least somewhat useful. And I'll probably end up doing one next week as well, because I'll still be stuck inside, and there still won't be orienteering. Yay!